So in this video, we'll be trying to understand what does it mean to be a human being or any being, or what does it mean to be living, and then it could be generalized to all the inanimate things, uh, which are even non-living, like electron, protons, and all the fundamental particles. So, so whatever I'm trying to tell is, or whatever I'm going to tell is all from the point of view of quantum mechanics, from all the experiments, from all the conclusions derived. This is how we can interpret ourselves. So at the topmost, I've written understanding oneself. Oneself uh, is not only is related to me, it's related to all of us, to a human being, to any creature, or basically an organism which has life. So all of us are made up of three basic components. The first is the body, or the physical structure, the morphology that we can touch, we can experience it with the sensation of touch, with our eyes we can see it. It has a certain form, certain structure, a certain boundary, and we can see it because it blocks the light. And when I'm saying body, I'm even including the brain also. I'm not excluding it. So body including the brain, and then comes mind. So one of the biggest misunderstanding people have is mind is just at the head. So if someone asks where is your mind, so they just point out to their head. But mind is spread across the whole body. It is not only limited to our head. What is limited to our head is not mind, it's brain. So brain is just like any other organs of our body, like kidney, liver, and all those things. And then comes consciousness. Consciousness is the fundamental root or the basis of all our experiences. So let's see what all these three things are. So though I have mentioned physical body and mind at the first, but in order to truly understand or truly grasp those things, we'll have to understand what consciousness means. So let's say, so to understand it in simple words, let's say somebody comes and asks you, are you alive? So at that moment you will surely say, yes, I am alive, because you can feel your body, you can feel the sensation of your body. So we may call it you are conscious about your body, or it's basically body consciousness. And one more thing that we always experience is sleep. Let's say I'm just going to sleep, and slowly I went into deep sleep. Now, at that period of time, at that instant of time, am I conscious that I exist, or do I have any sense of body? Do I even know that I exist? All these things only occur when I am in awake state, when I am in awakefulness. And when I am awake, I can see my hands, I can feel my body, I can have a sensation of my body. So I say that yes, I do exist. But why is it that we can't say, or we can't experience ourselves in sleep? I think I'll answer that question in this video. So consciousness is the source of all experience. What that means is, whatever I am experiencing, let's say I experience the taste of the food, I experience the color of the objects around myself. It's all it's all derived fundamentally from consciousness, that which experiences everything. Yeah, so it's same thing. So consciousness is that which is the source of all experiences, and it is also that which can experience all things. Let's say if I touch uh, a cup of hot water, then immediately I'll say that, let's say I'm closing my eyes, so immediately I will say that uh, the water is hot, because I can feel the sensation, I can feel the uh, sensation of hotness. And now you will say that it's because of the receptors, uh, receptors found at my fingers. uh, so when I touch it, it gives the impulse to the brain, and the brain analyzes it, and then it makes a thought that the cup contains hot water. Yeah, that's right. But let's say for a while, let's say for a while, uh, some person is injected with some kind of drug, or or anything which can make him or her unconscious. So at that time, I can't experience it, though a certain part of it is linked with brain, but that's not everything. So what I'm trying to say is, brain and mind work work in accordance with the consciousness. Because there is consciousness, I can experience my body, I can experience myself, I can experience a piece of paper, I can see that, I can make a difference between a piece of paper and a mobile phone, simply because of consciousness. Now let's understand the physical body. Physical body is pretty simple. So when I say physical body, The term physical is limited to one thing, that which has a certain form, which has a certain boundary, so we call it physical. Is light physical? No, because we can't see light. We can only see the particles, the dot particles, the objects, which blocks the light, which blocks the passage of light. So our body can be experienced by sense of touch, has a certain form, and can be seen by the eyes. That's all about the physical body. Now comes the mind. As I said it earlier, mind is not only limited to our head. We should not point to our head when somebody asks us what is the mind. The mind is spread right across the body. To understand it, let's say there is a small boy and he learns to write. He learns to write in English, and so since he is in starting phase, he will find difficulty, but slowly and slowly, with the passage of time, he learns to write perfectly, smoothly. So in that learning to write, there are two kinds of memory. The one memory is stored in the brain, and the second memory is stored in the little fingers. So what I'm trying to say is, the memory is not only stored in our brain, it is also stored in other parts of our body, in each and every cell. Each and every cell has genetic memory, evolutionary memory, and all the levels of memory. So when that boy is trying to learn how to write, he knowingly or unknowingly develops physical memory into his fingers. Or that memory is embedded in his finger, into his finger. So on certain circumstances, when he's laughing, or when that boy bursts out laughing, he can't write properly. Or let's say he's he has just uh, he's in awfulness just after a fraction of second, just after a fraction of second after sleep. So if we give him, or if we ask him to write, he can't write properly because the fingers have not recycled the memory yet. So let's not go deep into it. And the mind, according to the yogic books or the scriptures or Vedanta, the mind can be divided into 16 parts, and those 16 parts are categorized into four main components. The first one is memory, which is also called manas. So this component of mind includes all sorts of memory. The memory of our forefathers, ancestors, and the genetic memory, all kinds of memory. And the next comes all kinds of identifications and attachments. So this means the identifications of ourselves with our society, nation, our family, our parents, our names, our caste, everything, just everything. So it is a consequence of civilization. Since since we became social animal, we started making all kind of identifications with our society, with our parents, just because just just because we wanted to survive in a civilized manner. So it is also a major component of mind. To understand it better, uh, let's see it as this component of mind remembers that uh, he is my father, she is my mother, this is my country, this is that, all those things. So it is also part of mind. It is called ahamkar in the spiritual texts or the Vedanta. The next comes intellect. Intellect means simply the capability of mind to analyze and grasp the things. So that is what intellect is, and it's also called buddhi. Intellect is intellect is the basis of our survival. Because there is intellect, we can make difference between right and wrong. We can make our decisions accurately and all those things. Now the last comes chitta. Chitta has no memory or no identification into it. It is a pure 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 level of mind, or it is pure intelligence which has no memory at all. It is very closely related to our consciousness. So all right, now we can say that mind is a consequence of consciousness, because see, because there is consciousness, I can experience the things around me. I can see a book, a copy, and experience that it is a book, and make a difference between any other things like mobile. So this act of making difference is intellect, and the source of experiencing all those things is consciousness. And mind is like a storeroom. Mind is like a warehouse where we store all those things. I store that. I store a kind of information that if I look at certain things, if it looks this way, I will call it a copy. If it looks another way, I will call it a mobile phone. If it looks another way, I will call it a book. If it looks another way, I will call it a bag. So all these things are stored, are accumulated in our mind. And where do they come from? They come from consciousness. So that is why mind is a consequence of consciousness, or a modified form of consciousness. Because there is consciousness, there is mind. So mind is a consequence of consciousness, and mind is spread across the whole body. Each and every cell of our body has its own mind. Moving to the next slide. So in that interpretation, he said that there is a consciousness associated with all the particles, all the things in this universe. So when I'm trying to when there is observer in that experiment, the electrons have a certain consciousness due to which they can change their trajectory and give an entirely different interference pattern. So this is how we can relate consciousness with quantum mechanics. So all I want to say is, if I would have said that the interference pattern of the electron in the previous experiment where there was no observer is true, then I would be wrong, because the same interference pattern could be altered or could be changed when I put an observer into that in that experiment. So why is it so? Well, many quantum physicists say that it's because of consciousness, because there is consciousness associated with all the subatomic particles, with all the particles of the universe. So that is why there is a difference in the interference pattern after putting the observer. And one more thing that I want to say is, consciousness can't be seen because it is formless. It is the source of all experience, so we can't experience it uh, in the form of a certain physical structure through our eyes or with any such means. It is formless, infinite, and the source of all experience. So here is a quote by Erwin Schrödinger: consciousness cannot be accounted for in physical terms, for consciousness is absolutely fundamental. It cannot be accounted for in terms of anything else. So yeah, exactly. Consciousness is not limited to the physicality. Consciousness may be the source of physical objects. Consciousness, uh, to put it simply, it is the subject of all the experience. And what we see, as a physical object or anything, we experience love, we experience anger, we experience hatred, and all those things. These are the object of experience. Consciousness is the subject of experience, or the source, and what we experience is what we perceive. So that is why whatever we see around us can't be said as the ultimate. For that we will have to extend our level of consciousness and see the things the way they are.